On this week's episode, Peloton Guide is here, and we give the full lowdown on it.
And Tread Bootcamps coming out of the UK with Joslyn Thompson Rule, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 77 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by my co-host, John Pruitt. Hey, John.
Hey now. How you doing, Amanda?
I'm good. I am good. A good week and crazy week, right? And they just fly by. I swear to you,
Yep.
The fact that we are in April is insane, beyond insane. It is just absolutely flying by. Yeah. So I actually didn't even tell you this before, but I had a scary experience this week with my tread. And I guess, what the instructors tell you before you, start a workout, make sure you don't have any children, pets, or objects near your tread. You really do need to listen. So, I had my foam roller at the end of my tread so that I wouldn't have my dog go anywhere near it, which sometimes she'll sit at the edge, but she's really good. She won't go on it, but she's tiny. My foam roller got caught under my tread. Got
sucked under?
And it was definitely a little scary. So you guys really do need to make sure that you that you listen and you don't have anything. It was a pretty scary. I mean, I just I pulled out the safety and I stopped it immediately. But yeah.
So did it kind of throw you? Did it kind of throw you forward and tilt up?
No, it's tilted. So what it did do is it did kind of tilt, and it was actually quite hard. It's really heavy. So truthfully, I don't know how. I don't even know how anybody could have gotten underneath it, but I will say it's a heavy piece of machinery. So the roller must have just gone under, but the belt kept on going. So I had foam on my belt. I had to sit trying to clean my belt off to make sure that Mark didn't see what I had done, because he would have killed me. but it was scary. I have to say, it was scary. Thank goodness everything was fine, and I was fine. And I was literally I had just started. It was actually on Justin's walk. It was before Justin's walk.
The 70s walk?
But no, her Motown. So yeah.
Oh, the Motown.
Anyway, just wanted to.
So it's okay. It's not. You didn't break it again.
Everything's good. Nope. Everything, thank God, is good. But just be careful. Listen to them when they tell you not to have any objects around your treads, because
we got to make sure you can still do your running walks on it.
Oh, shush. You said it. I wasn't going to bring it up, John Pruitt. I wasn't going to bring
Every
it
time
up.
Every time I video chat you on a walk,
I'm walking.
Watching you.
Yeah, you know what can I say, John? It's tough when you see Segler 3 higher than you on that tread, on that leaderboard, huh?
It's very humble. It's humbling. It's humbling.
I'm glad. Well, just know that I will never surpass you on the bike. So give me the tread, because that is my one thing that I gotta say I'm doing really well at. But yeah, but it's interesting. It's funny you say that, because it does become rather competitive. There are definitely folks.
No, I like it.
There
yeah.
But there are definitely folks on there that kind of have high resistance on the entire walk and kind of do their own thing. So I've almost taken them out of my friends' leaderboard, just so that I can focus on those that are kind of at the same level that I'm at. But
some people that are high up on that leaderboard are just on a whole other level. So I don't put much thought into that, because they're obviously they're real they're like elite real runners, where I'm just a novice.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's been fun, and I've enjoyed working out with you so much this week. I have to say.
I know. I've been seeing you a lot on the leaderboard.
Right, I'm telling you, it's been It was definitely a fun week, and there definitely will be some picks of the week in there. So I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. But folks, before we get started with the news, We always like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. So just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button so that you never miss an episode.
Yeah. And if you want to just listen to us, we're on all traditional podcast platforms. Search Pelo Buddy TV. Hit subscribe, click notifications so you don't miss an episode, and leave us a review. We love to read some of the reviews we receive from folks that love watching and listening to the show. And we appreciate the feedback on how we can, improve things and, bring new content and ideas to make the show more fun.
Yeah, and of course we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And I guess, John, let's get right into it and on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
So first up, a rather in-your-face week when it comes to Peloton Guide. I guess we all know that it's here, right? Crazy. So tell us, let's kind of go through. There's so much to talk about as far as the Peloton Guide goes. I guess I will start it off by sharing that, of course, it was released this past week. You couldn't have missed it if you're on any form of social media because the instructors made a point of making sure we knew lots about it. But it actually came out being lower as far as from a cost perspective than was originally expected. But for those folks that are using it primarily through the app, the membership fee is actually higher. So that was interesting to see. So lower cost, it's at $295 for just the guide. And then if you add on the weights, it's $595. And you can pick 3 different sets of weights. And then, of course, if you do kind of the whole package, it's slightly higher. But the membership fee for those folks that are purely app users and don't have a bike or a tread will be paying more monthly for their membership.
And it looks like it's $24 a month for the first year, and then it'll increase to $39 a month.
Got it.
After that, from what we have in our notes here.
Yeah. And from what I'm seeing, John, the early reviews from members are very mixed. I think more folks are not running out to buy it than those that are. Have you seen the same kind of from those folks that you follow and what you're hearing?
I've seen a lot of people comment that haven't obviously received it. I don't think anyone's really gotten it yet and really used it. So everything we're reading is just based on the current specs that we have. So I've seen a lot of people call it just a glorified camera because it doesn't currently do rep counting. It doesn't do form feedback like I guess what the mirror does currently. It does. It has like a movement tracker which kind of nudges you to do all the reps and work out the full time. But a lot of people kind of don't seem on board with it for those aspects, and also the fact that you have to connect it to a TV, so you might have to move some furniture around, which I wouldn't get it for that purpose because, we have like a couch and this like long sort of upholstered ottoman in front of the TV. So I don't really have that. I have all the space around our bikes and the tread. So if I could attach it to a bike or the tread, which you can't do, then I would be more receptive to trying it out. I was glad that Chris had shared that with the fact that it had to get plugged into a TV, etc. Because I actually had my hand ready to hit buy. I was all ready to purchase it because there is a 30-day money back refund. So a trial
period, at least. If you want to just go ahead and get it and see whether you like it and whether it's worth it, you can go ahead and purchase it for 30, have that 30-day trial period. But my TV, I do have a TV, but my TV is up on the wall and there's nothing. It's kind of, it's the way my gym is set up. It's up on the wall and there's nothing that, that I can use. There's nothing I can to put it on. There's no ledge or anything.
You'd have to put like a little table under your, like a tiny little 4-legged table.
Right. I guess I could mount it to the bottom of my TV. I couldn't mount it to the top. I couldn't mount it to the top because it's too high. It wouldn't be able to see my form because me specifically, where my TV is located, it's kind of up high. So perhaps, so it can be mounted to the top, and it also has a little stand that you can use to, as you said, to put on, on a table.
Yeah.
So I have to go back and forth and see, and I don't really have any space in front of it because I have my, my bike and my tread. There's no, and a window. So there's no room. So so I was all ready to hit purchase, and then I kind of stepped back and I said, I wonder where I'm going to put that in. So I did not. So I'm curious to hear what others have to say, from that perspective.
And all the pictures and demonstrations from the instructors that have posted, and good Lord, the instructors are really promoting the hell out of it. I guess they got their orders from Peloton HQ. We got to push this thing. They all seem to just have it, it's like everyone needs to have a bookshelf below their TV. Correct. Mounted on the wall, so it would be, they should really show other areas, other options, because not everyone has that kind of setup.
Correct. Because you do need to have that HDMI port. Right, because you got to have that HDMI port to plug it into. You can't use
which
your
most
bike,
TVs.
You can't use your bike or your tread. Yeah. But I'm saying in order to
most TVs have an HDMI.
But what I'm trying to say is that the cord has to reach up there and is, etc. From that perspective. And you've got this cord hanging down.
Yeah, so you have a cord. I don't like the look of that, but
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see when people actually get it. I have a feeling a lot of folks will be returning it, within that 30-day window. So
I agree.
We'll find out.
I mean, some cool features is, it does have the body activity chart where you can actually see which muscles that you've worked out. So that is a nice feature there. But, and it does recommend, it will tell you if you've kind of worked your legs, your glutes, your hamstrings, it will tell you to kind of go to your biceps and your triceps. So it'll give you different body parts. I did see a cocky comment from somebody who was like, okay, you can't remember what you worked out last, that it has to tell you where to go to. So there are definitely some interesting comments that are flying around as to how people, feel about it.
And there is exclusive content that is only available to guide users. That'll be exclusive on the guide for 7 weeks. And then it sounds like it'll be pushed out to the masses to do on all the other, bike tread app.
Okay.
So that's nice to know. I know a lot of folks want, access to everything and don't want to miss out. But you can also filter it. You can filter the classes, the strength content by body groups too, if you just want to focus on a certain area.
Yeah. So I guess the first new programs are going to come out this week. Right now, it's just going to be a free for all. But this week they'll start out with the first. Once I guess everyone starts receiving them, I know that folks will probably start receiving them. Probably start receiving them Friday, kind of the weekend. Took a couple days because you couldn't actually go into the store and pick one up and take one home with you, which I thought was interesting. There were none to actually purchase from the store. You can go in and test it, and Chris Lewis did an amazing job in getting into
order it there.
One of the stores in Atlanta, and got an hour demonstration on how to use it and what to do, and of course you can head over to pelobuddy.com if you really want to get a nice in-depth view of how to do it. Chris does have that on the website. So that's cool to see. But I mean, that's, so you can purchase it in store. You can purchase it in store, but they'll ship it to you They're all being shipped. And I guess what is important, somebody told me this though, is if you do have a store that you're familiar with and you like and you definitely use them, because the sales reps are getting commission for them. So if you just purchase it directly from the website, it kind of, I guess, goes into a black hole. But if you are purchasing it from a per store, those sales reps will in fact get credit for it. So that is something I think to keep in mind.
Support your local showroom.
Definitely. Yeah, and you can
call them.
You don't even
have to go there in person.
Correct. In fact, one of my friends got hers out of New York, and she sent me. I don't have a relationship with my Peloton store here in Bethesda, so she said to me, "Well, here's the guy's name. He was so amazing and so helpful. If you want to purchase it, use him." And then I kind of got cold feet and said, I don't know. I just don't know where I'm going to put it. So you said you weren't going to get it either, right?
No, I mean, and I'm not super into doing standalone strength. So
I know.
As of right now, I wouldn't. If Jackie got it and wanted to, set it up on the TV in the basement, then I guess maybe I'd try it out. But
you'd use it.
Yeah. I'm good.
I guess we'll wait for the Chris's to tell us how because both Chris Lewis and Chris Giles got it. So I guess we'll wait to hear what they have to say. And then, of course, you guys, if you guys start getting it and want to share information, definitely let Chris Lewis know on Pelo Buddy, and we'll definitely share it here on the show, within the next
I'm sure we'll have a tutorial video once Chris Lewis gets it, that'll post on pelobuddy.com with his own voiceover narration as he goes through a class. Yeah,
well, he did. And as I said, he put in a very, very in-depth description of it up on pelobuddy.com. So there's lots for you guys to see if you're tired of looking at the instructors. And they're very salesy pictures of the Peloton guide. It was almost to the point of nausea. With every single one of them putting it on there. We love you guys, but it was, we get it.
I'm sure they were just following orders.
Absolutely. You post about that damn guy, you're fired. So folks, I guess with the guide going on sale, and certainly our Peloton instructors have been very busy behind the scenes preparing. There were actually 40 new strength classes that dropped on demand this past week too. So these classes are available to all members to take. And they coincide nicely with the release of the guide, but you can certainly see them. They just were dumped in there, and there's literally everybody on there that does strength has, tons of classes. So I'm certainly not going to read through all of them, but you can head over to pelobuddy.com or certainly your app, or wherever you get your strength classes from, you're able to see all of those on there. And there are tons, from beginner level to intermediate to advanced, and all body parts. So tons of new strength material that's out there.
They're really pushing that strength content right now.
With
the guide and all this. Well, we've got if you haven't noticed yet, we have this kind of cool class breakdown and body activity feature that has been added to the iOS, Android app, the website, on the bike and tread tablets. So now you can see a breakdown of class plans like power zone, strength, yoga, and lots of other modalities. But you can, in some of the classes, I've just noticed it's in the strength, but you can view demos of moves. And there's also body graphs available too for little breakdowns. But now with the class plans, you can see much more information about the class prior to, and this is on demand, obviously not for a live class. That hasn't happened yet. But you can see a lot more about what you might be getting into before you click that start button. So say if you're on the iOS app, you scroll down a little bit and click view details. There'll be even more information, such as like exact movements in a strength class or yoga poses, like a breakdown of jogging, striders, an uphill run, walking intervals, climbs, etc. It also lists like the duration of time in each of those movements. And also PZ fans will be pleased to know that the breakdown will also give you the time spent in each zone as well, which has been a very highly requested feature apparently. So that'll be really helpful to new members, especially when they select content and if they have injuries or other, circumstances, so they have to modify, or if maybe it's not the right class for them, they can see that ahead of time before they, get 20 minutes into a class and realize they need to quit it. But it's rolling across all modalities. And then in addition to the body activity and class plan features Peloton launched earlier this week, you can now view the video demos for a lot of the different workouts. That launched on the guide, but it's now on the bike, the tread, and both Android and iOS apps. So it'll give for like strength, it'll give like a little video clip of like the different movement, like weight movements. It's not on, I looked at like a sample ride with Emma, like from earlier this week, and there wasn't any kind of demo videos for that. So it's probably more specific to the strength or yoga, I'm guessing, for, the poses, the movements, because the bike, I guess, with the ride, you don't really need a demo of, because you're just basically pedaling the whole time. But for the other classes, I think it'll be helpful to see kind of,
very helpful,
what sort of advanced movements you might be getting into in a class.
Correct. And I did look at that from the yoga perspective, and it was amazing. So especially for someone like me who is a beginner and, is just kind of going out there and experimenting with yoga, it was very helpful to have that. So I did like that, and I liked how it showed up. It was interesting though, John, you and I both said how we don't do much strength, and it was interesting though, because clearly with the cycling and the running, my legs are working overtime, and it was funny to see the rest of my body was kind of white. There was no blue.
Yeah, the upper. Yeah, I was looking recently, and my upper portions, they were all kind of like grayed out, and the lower parts were all highlighted. I was like, all right, yeah, obviously, I'm not getting in my upper body. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. I know. So that was kind of well, that was preempted me to then go ahead and look at purchasing the guide, because I thought, okay, well then maybe this will get me to do it. But
But you have the mirror too, so you're.
I have tonal.
The tonal. Yeah.
I have tonal.
So you're getting that, or you're slacking on that.
I'm slacking, like big time. Hopefully Mark doesn't watch this episode, but it's very hard to work on a different platform. You're so used to, and I know there are other folks out there that have both Peloton and, and tonal, and are great with both of them. But I have to say, I have found it very hard getting into different instructors. I like who I like, and it's just it's a great piece of equipment. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to push, we're not here to push tonal, but I just can't get into it, and I got to figure out how to. Have got to figure out how to. So that's why I was kind of thinking that maybe guide was, a good idea.
You don't get a blue dot for getting in your tonal workout that day.
That's the other thing. And my strength, I only have like 200 strength, if that, like 200 and something strength classes. I'm like, I'll never up my strength game on the Peloton platform. Anyway, there is one way that I maybe am upping my strength game here, and that is as predicted from Joslyn Thompson Rule spilling the beans in her tread class last Sunday, that just this past Thursday it was officially announced that she will become the UK's first Tread Bootcamp instructor. Just today, Sunday, she's launched her first class, which I can only imagine was fantastic. Joslyn took to her own Instagram page, sharing the news with a very cute opener. Pick up a dumbbell, you ask? You had me at hello. So clearly she was really excited about, jumping on the platform as the first UK tread coach. She had gone on to share, and I've said this 1,000 times, Joslyn is phenomenal. And I think she was, perfect to have been asked to do this. Of course, I am disappointed that John didn't get the nod. I really thought that he was going to, going to be on there as well.
I'm sure he'll
so
be.
I was definitely disappointed. I'm holding out.
I'm sure he'll be added.
Maybe down the road. But she shared her philosophy, John, which was very interesting. She said, one, the basics are never basic. 2, intensity comes in many forms. And 3, you work to play. So you work, recover, to play, train. And she shares a movement. She shares that movement education is where she comes alive. So she's looking really forward to learning with members. She said that, if the idea of boot camp scares someone, she's got you. So she said that it certainly had scared her, and she was always intimidated by the fact of being on the tread and doing the floor workouts. But she said she refers back to her philosophy number 2, which is intensity comes in many forms. So she said, take it slow. If you're just starting out and doing it, take it slow, and then you can kind of gain from that perspective. And I had said to you guys, I had started doing some tread boot camps. I did Rebecca's, I did Maddie's, and then I kind of jumped off because I really like working with my UK instructors. So I'm thrilled that she's on the platform. And if any of you have never tried her out as a tread coach, she's phenomenal. So I'm really looking forward to seeing these roll out.
Yeah, and that was quite an early premiere for the East Coast folks. I think that premiered
6:30
a.m. 6:30 a.m.
6:30 a.m. which is her time, which is I'm not loving the times, but it's on demand. You know what? You do it on demand. You don't have to do it live. If you can't catch it on demand, you can certainly do it live. I mean, if you can't catch it live, you can certainly do it on demand.
Yeah. Well, in other switching back, staying in the strength realm, new coach Logan Aldridge, strength coach, he shared last Friday, April 1st, that his first Peloton class is tentatively scheduled to take place in June, so just around the corner. Logan was first announced as joining the Peloton team last December. He started out as an adaptive training consultant, but it was shared that he would eventually begin teaching classes as well without any timeline given then. But then since then, he's been sharing clips pretty regularly on his social media of him doing rehearsals and training at Peloton Studios, New York. So stay tuned for our latest strength instructor to hit the platform in like a month and a half now.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And for those of you looking for a new strength stack,
I will say, if Logan is watching this, he needs to unblock me on Instagram, because before when Pelo Buddy was putting the scoop, I guess he had blocked Pelo Buddy's social page and then unblocked them, but he blocked me too, and he didn't unblock me, so he doesn't see all my great content and funny memes.
He's gotta make sure that he unblocks you, John.
He's missing out. Yeah, and I can't see his stuff. I can't see his clips unless I go to pelobuddy.com, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that is a bummer. All right. Well, going back to saying, for those of you that are looking for a new strength stack this month, Peloton did not release one, and I guess the question could be twofold. Was it because, this is just us surmising, Chase Tucker was the instructor that was supposed to do the stack, or is it just because of all the material that had to get together for the guide? They figured that releasing a new stack probably was pointless. So we don't have an answer, but there's no April strength stack. There are 40 new classes that dropped on demand though. So there's tons that you can work through, but there's no specific coach who is going to guide you through a stack through the month.
Who else besides Chase would there be that hasn't done a monthly stack? I'm trying to think. I feel like we've run through most of the majority, if not all of them. Yeah,
they're going back to doing doubles. So Callie last month which was her second time. I believe was it her second time that she did it?
So we're already back
Yeah, so they're
running
kind
through.
of going back through again. Yeah.
Well, in other news, in Lanebreak news, the video game for the Peloton bike, DJ John Michael, he's been sharing some weekly posts of new Lanebreak levels that have rolled out with music put together by him, the playlists. On April 1, he announced 3 new levels, which have since dropped. There's a 15-minute Women of Pop level that's got some Ava Max, Clean Bandit, Dua Lipa, Madonna, a 15-minute Women of Dance level with Cher, Kylie Minogue, Madonna, a 15-minute hip-hop level with Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott, Lil Pump, and then there's a 15-minute Disco Dreams level as well. And the one that I obviously gravitated towards was a 15-minute 80s Essentials level, which has got a lot of 80s pop, but Debbie Gibson, Sheila E., Tina Turner, and then he's also got, these are all available now, he's got a 5-minute 90s rock warm-up level, which just features Alanis Morissette. So if you have not checked out some of that new Lanebreak content, it is there for you to go on and play with.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so Amanda, in German news, German instructors Erik Jager and Mayla Wedekind, they had a joint announcement on Instagram Friday on Erik's Instagram page. They're both going to be teaching their own special deep house ride. Erik's up. He's teaching one today, Sunday, April 10th, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's a 30-minute deep house ride. And the caption in his social media announcement says, "Let the power of deep house push you to your best." And that in absolute silence. So it sounds like there's going to be, no talking, probably no shout outs during the ride at least. So you can just lose yourself, immerse yourself in the music and the ride itself. And Mayla is teaching one, but it hasn't been posted. It's not on the schedule yet. So that sounds kind of cool. If you don't, if you're not into, the chattiness of some of the instructors, the shout outs they do, or sometimes, they get into telling stories.
Yeah.
This might be for you. And if you like house music and just want to focus on the tunes, definitely check them out.
So I guess they'll probably give the cues, like some of the cues, but really not talk other than that.
Probably pretty minimal. Yeah, probably pretty minimal spoken words.
Interesting. Yeah, that should be fun to see how that pans out. And then some other German news is Charlotte Weidenbach became a doctor. So she just posted on her social this past week, just on Friday, that she received her doctorate in medicine. So huge congrats. We saw her popping champagne and telling folks to just call her Dr. Lottie. So huge congrats to Charlotte. Huge congrats to Charlotte on that. And we wanted to make sure that we shared that with everybody. And remember we shared about the One Peloton Club a couple of episodes back. And that, folks, is Peloton's new program that allows members to essentially rent a bike and kind of bundle the cost together with the monthly subscription. Well, it's now been expanded into a few new states. So back when it was launched, it was only in 4 states. But now it has in fact gone into more states. So back then, I believe it was in 9 showrooms in Florida, Minnesota, Texas, and Colorado. But they've included 6 new states. So now folks in California, Georgia, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, and Virginia can also participate in the program. Big difference is when they first launched the program a month ago, they were only renting out bikes. They have now included bike pluses into the mix as well. So folks can go online and find the complete list of participating showrooms on the pelobuddy.com website. And we're not 100% sure of what the pricing will be in each independent state. but our little Pelo Buddy Inspector Clouseau went off to the Peachtree, Atlanta. I just say Peachtree because that's the only road I know in Atlanta. Control room was a Peachtree. But as far as Atlanta goes, their pricing structure, kind of give you guys some reference, is as follows. For the original bike, the monthly fee is $79 for the bike up front. The upfront fee is $250, and the 12-month buyout, if you find that you actually really do like it and you want to stick with it, is $995. For the Bike Plus, the monthly fee is $119. The upfront fee is $250, and the buyout is $1,285. So it's a pretty significant.
So you initially pay $250 or so up front, and then
exactly.
And then does the monthly fee include the monthly membership, or is that
membership
on top?
It includes the monthly membership.
It's all in one.
It's bundled. It's kind of bundled together.
Gotcha.
So it's not actually a bad price, and
yeah,
I mean, we can certainly assume that with the expansion now of the club, more than tripling after launching, less than a month ago, that it indicates that it's probably a success so far.
Successful, yeah.
Peloton hasn't shared anything
nice, good
formally,
option.
but it's a great option, for folks that just couldn't afford to buy it before. And you can return it. You don't want it, you're renting it. So, you do, maybe you get it and you find that it has become their clothes horse and you aren't in fact getting on it, then you can return it. So you don't get your money back, what you've spent, but you can at least not continue to pay the monthly fee. So I thought that was a great that it's rolling out to more and more states. And I'm curious to know of folks who have, opted for that option. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just guess, John, we roll right into Instructor in the News.
Yeah. So first up, Christine D'Ericle, her love story was featured in brides.com recently. The title of the piece is "Love Looks Like This. I Fell for a Rider in My Peloton Class." And Christine, she's one of the original, one of the first Peloton instructors. She's been around a long time now, and she, originally taught at Soul Cycle before that. So she's got a very vast cycling background. She's also a professional cycler, if you didn't know that. But the article talks about she says, the strangest thing about falling in love with Brian, her fiance, they're getting married soon, was the fact that he is not female. For over 10 years, I thought I had figured it out, meaning who I was, and who I was gay. And she had apparently been dating women for the past 10 years. She said her friendship started with a coveted but random shout out in one of her Peloton classes. She says, she was scanning the leaderboard to congratulate riders on milestones, and the leaderboard name that she shouted out was Breathe Nitrox. And what's Nitrox? Are you, she was questioning the leaderboard name after she shouted out, are you a dentist? And Brian, her, I can't remember, his last name escapes me right now. He's a lawyer. Brian Hicks, thank you, control room. He was a home rider in San Francisco where he was living at the time, taking live classes, and he wasn't even a big fan. She said, I didn't play metal, and at first he thought I was too introspective, but he did after the class, after she shouted him out and was wondering about his leaderboard name, he did send her a Facebook message explaining his username, and nitrous oxide, is what dentists, use a lot of times, but Brian's not in fact a dentist. He is a scuba diver, and nitrix is a gas mix that allows him to stay underwater longer so he can photograph, underwater ocean life, sea slugs, manta rays, octopi. So the article is really interesting because it talked a lot about how they got to be really friendly, corresponding back and forth. And then I don't want to kind of read it verbatim. I think it's really, you want to go on the link on pelobuddy.com and read it for yourself. But it talked a lot about Christine's feelings, thinking about him constantly. And, initially she was like, oh, I think this could be a lifelong friend. But then she was, thinking about him a lot more than that. And then the relationship kind of grew and took off from there. And I guess eventually he relocated to the East Coast because they've been living together for quite some time now. But it was kind of a really cool story. And
An amazing story. I did not know. I knew he was a member, but I didn't know the depth of it. And that's fantastic.
Yeah. I thought he actually, I thought when Christine told the story on Instagram Live once, I thought he was actually actually a New York local, and he would ride in the studio a lot with her. I thought that was the story. And then finally they kind of connected that way. I didn't realize it started out initially long distance. I don't know when he eventually, maybe he relocated and then started riding more, in person with her at the studio. And then they they grew that friendship from there. But that was the only kind of background I knew on the story, that he was he would ride in the studio a lot. But yeah.
And I guess those are the days, John, where there were fewer riders, there were fewer DMs going back and forth,
tiny leaderboards,
smaller leaderboards. I can only imagine. I mean, we always joke about our friend Chased by Shadows, who's obsessed with Matt, and says she's married, right? And I think she says she'd leave her husband in a heartbeat if Matt knocked on her door.
Yeah, married with kids.
It's
Gloria.
Gloria. Thank you. I couldn't remember her first name. But yeah, I mean, it's I think it's so many of members' fantasies that this would happen, but it definitely happened in a different time in the member instructor Peloton world, where you did have those relationships.
Yeah, the interactions. Yeah, the interactions were definitely. There were some special interactions, I guess. If you were an OG, you probably got shouted out every class, every live class that you were in, because that
Kenny Bania, we know about
leaderboard was so tiny. Well, I wasn't in those really tiny, but yeah, it was nice in those early days, meaning like 2017, 2018, where they could go through. I remember even back when Leanne first started teaching her rides, she used to shout me out every single ride because she would be able to just go through the leader. She wouldn't have that many milestones.
Right.
So those days of wine and roses have passed.
Well, it is.
But a very cool story about them.
No, it's an awesome story. Awesome story. All right. So it's been a big week for Tunde, folks. She was featured in self.com in an article titled Peloton star Tunde Oyeneyin on worrying about other people's opinions and saying she'd rather put focus on love. In the article, she does talk about how she transitioned from a makeup artist to a Peloton instructor, and is now also the host of Peloton's new podcast, Fitness Flip, and of course her new book, which is to be released in May the 3rd, titled Speak. Find your voice, trust your gut, and gift from where you are to where you want to be. Tunde shared in the article that she will in fact be doing a book tour in May. Right now, all we know is that it's going to be held in New York and LA. She goes on to talk about her upbringing, which we've spoken about on the show before. She is the child of Nigerian immigrants. She grew up plus sized. She said it was hard enough being Black, but being Black and chubby was awful. And she's very, very open about her journey and kind of what she's done to get to where she is today. Talks about having low self-esteem and low self-confidence, which is when you see her today, it's almost impossible to even imagine that she ever dealt with those interpersonal issues. She shared that her first job was as a makeup artist. And she said initially it was her dream job, that she worked really, really hard to get, and then ultimately hated it. So, and I guess that was then how she eventually got into the Peloton world. As we've said before, she auditioned initially and was rejected. And she said that, everything happens for a reason. And clearly that rejection was meant to be, because obviously it took her back to the audition process. And ultimately she is, who she is today. So a beautiful article. Definitely head over to pelobuddy.com to read it all. And then of course, she shares on her Instagram the exciting release of the book that folks are really looking forward to. So that'll happen next month.
Great. Well, Matty Maggiacomo was on TV recently. He posted his the full interview. We also linked to it on pelobuddy.com. But he was recently a guest on the San Diego local Fox 5 affiliate TV station to talk with host Raul Martinez about incorporating strength training or starting strength training back up after an injury. And he gave it was like a 7-minute interview, but he gave several tips. He said, first off, no working out until you have the green light from your doctor or physician. 2, once you're cleared, leave the ego, check your ego at the door. Jess Sims always says, no ego, no ego, amigo. He says, have your physical therapist, run through a fitness assessment. Then he said, body weight, low impact workouts are your friend. Don't go out going crazy with the weights right when you're getting back into it. Slowly integrate the weights eventually. And then he didn't get a chance to mention it I guess they ran out of time or he forgot to include it, but he did state in his social media Instagram post that tip 5 is make sure you take the time to stretch and recover. Yoga is your friend. So check out that interview if you haven't already. And it's right on Matty's. It's also on his Instagram page as well. He posted the full video interview.
Awesome. Yeah, it's an amazing interview. And then lastly, the amazing Kirsten Ferguson was in the news again this week.
Amazing.
This time on the podcast Ali on the Run. So we had shared Kirsten's story last week when she was featured in Shape magazine by Michelle Kay. But if you'd like to hear her being interviewed, head over to pelobuddy.com to grab the podcast. So she is on the latest podcast on Ali in the Run. And then a very happy birthday to JJ. So Jermaine Johnson celebrated a birthday last week, as did Ali Love. And Ali got to celebrate it in London. I was very happy to see that Andrew was there to celebrate with her, because if you folks don't know, they actually share a birthday. I think that would be my worst nightmare. And I would probably break up with a guy if I found out that his birthday was the same day as mine, because it's my day. I sometimes have to share Mother's Day with Mark because his birthday is the beginning of May. So I couldn't imagine.
That's like me. My birthday. Yeah, I always have to share Mother's Day lately because my birthday is May 8th.
So is Mark's. No, did I?
Oh, he's May 8th as well?
Oh my goodness.
Maybe. I can't remember.
That's why I knew I liked you. All right, now I know why you and I are friends. that Taurus in you. But
yeah,
so
he's got like 20 years on me, obviously, but
Yeah, just a few. But Addie celebrated in London. She posted on her socials. She had an amazing dinner with Leanne and Ben, and it looks like she had an awesome day. She is a lot like me, where she celebrates her birthday all month. So she said she would just
she's still celebrating. It's a whole month. Yeah.
Exactly. So
not just one day for her.
To both of them. And then I guess picks of the week. Picks of the week.
Yeah.
I'm loving these members' picks of the weeks because it's definitely giving us, a little bit of diversity and some different things that are being shared. So do you want to go first this week, or do you want me to go?
Yeah. I've got my usual trio. So I'll start out with Selena Samuela's 45-minute pop boot camp from Monday, April 4th. This was her first boot camp back after becoming Mrs. Virtue and getting married. It was an all levels boot camp. So for anyone, if you're just starting out, this is a good one to try out if you want a 45-minute. But just a fun mix of Shania, Lady Gaga, Pitbull, Bon Jovi, Doja Cat. It was hard, but and she was really, revved up and excited to be back, but super fun. And then going to the bike with my favorite instructor, Jen Sherman, her 20-minute Motown ride from Thursday the 7th. Just super fun. Motown's tunes, Jackson 5, The Four Tops. My favorite song was Smokey Robinson's Second That Emotion. She had Otis Redding Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. Just a great class. And this was her first ride back after being off the schedule for like almost 2 weeks. She was visiting her son in Wisconsin before he graduates from school. And then her class earlier in the week at her regular Tuesday time slot had been, canceled. So she'd been off the schedule for a while. And then Adrian Williams, I love his Friday morning Tread Bootcamps. I always, try to do those. I haven't really done the Sunday 45 much because I always ride on Sundays with Jen. But his Friday morning 30-minute full body boot camp, pretty hard on the floor and lots of sprints in the last tread segment. I know the last sprint I maxed out at 12.5 on the speed, but a real solid 30 minutes of strength and running. So check those out.
All right, awesome. All right, John. So I guess we'll kick into my picks of the week. And as a 70s child myself, Susie Chan's 30-minute 70s walk, John, from the 7th of April at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. I thought this was absolutely amazing. This particular playlist was one of her best. I've walked and run with her a lot, but I particularly liked this particular playlist. So she started out with the Doobie Brothers, Listen to the Music. Of course, she had the Beatles, Blondie's Heart of Glass, Elton John's Crocodile Rock, a little bit of Billy Ocean. She had Queen's Crazy Little Thing Called Love, Joni Mitchell's Big Yellow Taxi, and she ended it out with Fleetwood Mac's Landslide. So amazing songs that I particularly liked, and I just thought the walk was just exactly what I needed. Loved having you on the leaderboard right there with me.
It was a lot of fun. You left out my favorite song from the playlist, which is by an artist I'm not that super familiar with, Minnie Riperton. She had this song. It's called Les Fleurs, and I hadn't really heard that song. I first heard it. It was played at the end of the 2019 movie called Us that Jordan Peele directed, which is kind of like sort of a horror thriller movie. But Minnie Riperton, she's the mother. She passed away in the 70s, but she's the mother of the former SNL actress Maya. Forget her last name.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really cool song.
I wasn't familiar with that song. So
I've never heard it. I'd never heard it on the Peloton. I'd never heard it on the Peloton platform. So when I posted on my stories, I said kudos to Susie for throwing that on there, because it was, might be kind of a random song choice to some, but I hadn't heard it in so long. It's a really cool tune.
All right, awesome. And then Joslyn Thompson Rule will also be fellow walker, Tunde Holmes, who said, and she had picked it as her pick of the week, so I'm going to give her a shout out. She said, perfect bop to turn any frown upside down. And I love the way, Joslyn took that walk, and she did a little John Husking on there, where she turned it into, a little bit of dancing, moving about. And it was just great Motown tunes, an easy, fun walk that I absolutely loved. And then I haven't spoken about my girl Leanne, so I am going to shout her out, and I'm going to do it 2 times. Her 60-minute pop ride from Sunday morning, which I got up at the crack of frigging dawn to do live, because I wasn't missing that 60 minutes live. I have to tell you, incredible. So I've started incorporating more 60s, and I'm doing them. I had done Benny's a couple weeks ago. I had done Jen Sherman's. There are a couple that I've done. This one being pop music was fantastic. And again, I wasn't the only one, because midwife Lexi had said her 60-minute pop ride was fun, reasonably challenging, and had incredible playlist. And yes, folks, it did. The playlist was insane. She started out with David Bowie's Let's Dance, to a little bit of Whitney, Bananarama's Venus, of course, the Spice Girls, So You'll Be There. And how can you have a pop ride without throwing in Aqua's Barbie Girl? I mean, you have to, right? And her putting it in there is everything.
God.
But in 60 minutes, you can certainly get a lot out of pop. And she threw in Katy Perry, Beyonce, Carly Rae Jepsen, Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, and of course she ended it off with Ed Sheeran's Shape of You. So it was, no question, challenging. 60 minutes is a long time to be on one ride, the whole time with one instructor. But I adore her, and it flew by, absolutely flew by. And then on Tuesday, she threw out a 20-minute recovery ride. It was her early morning slot, it was Wednesday, not Tuesday. It was her early morning slot, so I did it on demand. But it was exactly what my legs needed, because she had done the 60 minutes. She then did a hip and heels on Monday, but this recovery ride. So, it's not only for folks that are recovering. If you've had an injury, if you've been off the bike, it's always nice to be able to do this kind of ride, but it's also just nice to do it. And it's different to a low impact. I mean, a low impact ride is fantastic, but I think with the recovery ride, it's more about the music. It's more about just pedaling. And truthfully, I pushed my leaderboard away. It wasn't live, so it was easier for me to do that. I always find I'm a little bit more competitive when I cycle live. I'm sure you feel the same way than if you do, you pop on demand. So I pushed the leaderboard away. I pushed everything away, my heart rate, and I just rode and, listened to the music and listened to her, and it was fantastic. And then lastly, Kristen McGee. Kristen had a 30-minute yoga flow. It was on April the 4th at 8 a.m. and it was absolutely wonderful. I've been sticking to a DT for some time, and I've been doing a little bit more of Kristen and Anna Greenberg, and I wanted to give Kristen a shout out because I really, really enjoyed that particular 30-minute yoga flow. So those are my picks of the week. Of course, we do have all you lovely members and viewers that had sent them in. So I'll go first, John. And then we can go back and forth. The first one here I see is Jess King. So she did a 30-minute dance music ride from the 30th of March. It was from 5 p.m. Eastern time. And Red Hawk Rider and That's My Fold had both recommended it. It looks like That's My Fold said, I don't usually do dance music rides, but I was lured in my remixes of familiar songs. I was feeling the Monday blast and the energy in this ride, and bear with me so I can see exactly because it cuts off. In this ride made it go super fast. And then Red Hawk Rider said, you don't realize how hard you are working because the music lifts you. So that was Jess King's 30-minute dance music ride from the 30th.
Nice. Well, we had a submission from leaderboard named Choosing Better. They recommended Jess Sims' Flash 15, her Jock Jam Strength from Friday, April 1st. She said it was fun, nostalgic, and a great workout.
Awesome. And then from Maria Kay and Run Like Lindsay, they both recommended, again, Jess Sims, her Saturday 60s Jock Jams Tread Bootcamp. And that was also on the 2nd at 10 a.m. Soy Sauce Saz said, so fun. Suze.
Soy sauce Suze, I'm guessing.
Soy sauce Suze, you're right. Soy sauce Suze said, so fun. Maria Kay said, brought me back to my baseball days. And Run Like Lindsay said, launched me right back to middle school. Loved it. So I thought that was kind of cute.
Well, that's mine. That's Selena's. All right. So Daniel McKenna's 20-minute upper body strength from April 4th. This was submitted by a few different people, Teach for Coffee and Miss Sarah Beth. They said, don't underestimate his upper body strength classes because they will humble you. He has a very sneaky finisher at the end. I am obsessed with his classes. He had me laughing at the realness. And people are raving about it. He's getting a lot of good press lately. People love Daniel's boot camps and his strength. So
Agreed.
He's one that I really need to get into. I hear nothing but good things about him.
Yeah, I've done a couple strength with him. He's hard. He's hard as anything, but people love him, and he's hysterical apparently. So
he's apparently got the great personality.
Yeah. So then Leah Seychelles had suggested Erik Jager's 30-minute techno ride, and it was in English. So I didn't know that Erik had an English ride. That's awesome.
He's done a few.
Has he?
Yeah, he's done a few, but it's been a while since he's done. I mean, he doesn't do them very often, and I think the last one was a while ago. He had a 20 or 30-minute Pride ride in English from a year or two ago, but he's got a couple in there that are probably still in the library.
Awesome to know. So thank you, Leah Seychelles, for letting us know that. So Leah Seychelles said, so much fun and good to listen in English. So huge shout out to Erik there for that techno ride on April 4th.
And then Kate Watkins, 19, and Dopamine Chaser both recommended Jess Sims' 45-minute Jock Jams Bike Bootcamp from April 4th. I did this one live with Jackie. It was a lot of fun. But they said Jess is contagious. The music is 100. So check that out. The whole Jock Jams, everyone seemed to really like the Jock Jams classes. So hopefully that becomes a recurring season. I know she got super into it as well. So hopefully we see it return sooner than later.
So I guess all three classes were picks of the week. So thanks for sharing that. And then Kira's Koalas, who are obviously her fan page, had recommended her 30-minute yoga flow from April the 5th. It was a 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time class, and the comment was all heart openers and getting out of tech hunch. So that was really awesome and nice to see a fan page actually recommending a class. So thanks for that.
Yeah. And Country Music Lady 229 recommended Dennis's 20-minute hip hop ride from April 6th. I did this one live actually. He had two back-to-back 20-minute rides that day. But she said it was great except for the spin-ups and sprints, Dennis jamming to hip hop. That was a great ride as well. I got a lot of good.
I think he followed that up with a low impact, didn't he? Because I remember, I think I did his low impact. Was it a low impact that he did hip hop and then low impact?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Sounds
May
right.
have been. Yeah, because I think I did
so.
his low impact. And then
speaking of low impact.
Yeah. Speaking of low impact, 45-minute. I've never done a 45-minute low impact class. So this was a Hannah Corbin 45-minute class that Brian A had picked. Said outstanding music.
Yep, Brian. That's Brian Albright, OG. He's an OG member in Michigan. Nice.
All right. Well, good for Brian. Okay, super.
He does a lot of, he works out at like 6 a.m. So he's always on the leaderboard, at the crack of dawn. He's one of the early riders and runners. All right. So leaderboard name. Codia. They recommended Mariana's 30-minute EDM yoga from April 7th. No comments there, but if you like some EDM and you like some yoga, that seems like an unusual mix, but hey.
That's when to do.
To each his own.
The last one, the last pick of the week that we have here is from Wayfinder JKU. Alex Toussaint, his 30-minute HIIT ride. I don't know how anybody can pick a hit ride as their pick of the week, but what Wayfinder JKU said, fire playlist, major power vibes. And that was from the 7th of April at 6:30 p.m. I don't think I could ever pick a hit ride as a pick of the week, but good for you. Good for you, Wayfinder, for doing it.
If the music is good enough, if the music is good enough, I'll pick it.
You're right, absolutely. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up the picks of the week for this week, folks, and closes out the show. So I guess, John, that is pretty much it. It was a lot, I guess, with the guide coming out and, all the strength stuff that's on there. I think there's somebody telling us up there that you and I need to start doing more strength, John. We have to figure that bit out. We have to figure that out.
I won't argue with that. Yeah.
I know. Well, folks, again, as we do at the end of each show, we always like to just thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us right through to the end, if you're still there. We so appreciate it, and we look forward to next week's show. So for me here, bye for now, everybody.
And for me, thank you for tuning in, listening, and watching us. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.